Once your period is over, do you feel more human, more alive, more excited to participate in life again? Well, it is time to yawn and stretch and let the light in because your inner spring is here. The week or so after your period correlates with the continuation of the follicular phase of the menstrual cycle. This is your inner spring. We call this phase inner spring because just like the energy grows and enlivens in nature's spring, we step into a hormonal state that is rising in the levels of estrogen, filling us with energy, enthusiasm, playfulness, hope, and potential. And this is quite symbolic to what is going on inside of you. Physiologically, this is also when follicles containing eggs in the ovaries are developing. Life is literally growing inside of you. So if you think of mood, energy, and zest for life on a spectrum of low energy, low mood, and little interest in life to high energy, happy mood, and an interest in life, the hormones of inner spring naturally place you on the higher and happier end of this spectrum, which is likely a welcome relief after being hormonally placed on the lower side of the spectrum through your period days. The tendency for being higher and happier in how you feel gives you a greater chance of experiencing some of the superpowers or gifts of inner spring, such as an inner spark, the glimmer of possibility, being lighthearted and playful, increased resilience, enthusiasm, socialness, curiosity, creativity, experimentation, energy, motivation, increased self-esteem, and stronger sense of self, an inner surety of yourself and your place in the world, and being happier with your reflection. If we think of the menstrual cycle as a tool or mechanism for self-evolvement, then inner spring would be the natural time to play and experiment with possibility. And since we're likely being nudged toward the high and happy side of our hormonal spectrum, we'll naturally feel our own potential. You feel the energy and desire to make your ideas, goals, and plans come true. You hold potential, just like seeds planted in the soil in spring or in the egg developing in your ovary. You hold the potential for new life to come through you and be experienced by you. And I'm not even talking about how you hold the potential to become pregnant, although that is very significant. What I'm talking about here is what you can give life to. A new career goal, a new relationship, a new project, a new habit, a new perspective. And how through these things, you will experience new life for yourself. Now, building and expanding on this potential is what births something new into your life. And this is very symbolic too, because spring is nature's birthing season. So with the energy of innocence, creativity, imagination, and playfulness, let yourself build and expand. Let yourself water that seed by embracing a curious, explorative, and playful attitude. These days of inner spring are like an idea and dream generator for innovation, the start of the actions that continue to bring you closer to who you are here to be. Inner spring is about relishing in your potential, your dream, your prayer for you and your life. The work of inner spring is to let your imagination run free and your hopes run wild. Now, all of this sounds lovely, but it may come off as sounding a bit daydreamy or overly poetic. So I want to bring this language into what it looks like in daily, mundane life. So period bleeding has stopped. You're no longer dealing with managing the event of your period. You're relieved from your premenstrual and menstrual pains and discomfort. You get some energy back in your system. You feel some positivity and desire for your life growing. And the evidence of this can be quite subtle. Like, I know it sounds like fantastical, but the way it truly translates into our life, it can look subtle, but it holds deep meaning. So this could look like ideas flooding in for a paper that you have to write for school, energy and strategy for how you're gonna up level in your sport, job ideas that would better suit your needs, growing courage to take on a job interview, socializing coming more naturally to you, having a spark of interest in education programs that you want to consider, interest in a place that you want to travel to, inspiration for how you want to redesign your bedroom or your office. This is what I mean by feeling your potential. Building and expanding on this potential could look like brain dumping all of your ideas for your paper into a journal, watching videos for how to get more skilled in your sport, speaking to others about their job choices or looking for job opportunities in your area, researching education programs or reading a book on the topic that you've found interest in, watching vlogs from people who live in the places that you want to travel to, walking through a store and considering what would look nice and feel nice in the space that you're redesigning. This is you building and expanding on your potential. Inner spring could also look like being in a good mood and laughing more, or having some more patience with people. It could look like your school day or your work day being more enjoyable. It could look like moving more and having the desire to just get more exercise. It could feel like having greater resilience. It could look like trying something new. It could look like choosing to wear an outfit that you don't normally choose to wear. These are all subtle ways that you're living out the offerings of inner spring. In super basic terms, inner spring is your time to feel life around and within you again. It's focusing on your potential energy and not the kinetic energy of it. You can utilize inner spring to incubate a new idea, a new project, a new goal, or a new step in your life. You can also use it to move, add on, pivot, or generally grow something that you've already been working on. Things like your progress in school or your advancement in a sport or your routines and habits. You can use it as a time to try something new or to do things differently than you have before. Inner spring can give you a natural momentum to bring more life in. When you have the opportunity to dream or envision yourself without the restraints of daily life, you also give yourself a chance to sense a truer version of you. If you never let yourself be childlike and imaginative over who you could be or what your life could look like, then you might find yourself stuck in your ways, stuck in habits, jobs, education, and routines that are not what you really want for yourself. Given the hormonal state of spring, you are given a greater chance to access your playful and imaginative abilities, which also gives you a greater chance of engaging with more of the true you. Inner spring is your chance in the menstrual cycle to engage with who you really want to be, what you really want to do, how you want things to look, because we can do so with less judgment and less of a narrow view, because we're in a state that's much more creative and imaginative, and from that place, we have the ability to think of how things can be done differently. And that is the very key place that new things can come into your life. So when you're in the state where you're just more naturally able to access those abilities that you have of creativity and playfulness, and comparing that to that, like, the childlike spirit, you're gonna have a greater chance of coming up with a new idea or a new way of looking at something that will bring new life in and create and birth new life into your life for you to experience. Now, with all of this, like any season, comes its challenges. The challenges of inner spring look like, number one, vulnerability. Inner spring and inner summer are the seasons of the menstrual cycle that are most in alignment with the expectations and timing of our society. However, we naturally hold the ability to be more imaginative, and with that, innocent. Things feel possible to us again. That's what I mean by, like, innocence. We believe things are possible. And our world can very easily squash our hopes and dreams with threats of failure, questioning, and seriousness. In the same lane, be careful to not harden against yourself, against your dreams, or your potential. Number two, splurging your energy. When you feel your energy returning after menstruation, it's easy to want to go from 0 to 100. But there's power in easing yourself back into life, into your obligations, your responsibilities, and your routines. So for the first couple of days after menstruation, begin things gently. Give yourself a little extra time to get to your obligations. Opt for some Pilates or yoga or walking over a super high intensity workout. You want to let your energy build rather than splurging it all at once. Basically, don't overdo it. I know it seems dramatic, but it does make a difference. Number 3, fatigue. If your period ends and you're feeling tired, this is your time to reflect on how it is you spent your menstruating days and your past cycle overall. It could be a sign that you overworked yourself when you needed rest. And if you have heavy periods, it can also be a sign that you might be low in iron. So talk to your doctor if you feel like you kind of fit in that category. Number 4 is anxiety. Inner spring can come with some feelings of intimidation and apprehension. You're stepping back into the seasons of light, visibility, action, possibility, and newness. And while this is exciting, it can be intimidating to face the unknowns and take action, even if you know that action would be good for you. It can be anxiety inducing to recognize areas of your life that need expansion, places where you need to grow, experiences that you ought to try. If you feel this way, I encourage you to look at what you know you need or want in your life with a new perspective, a new lens. How could you do that thing in a way that would work for you right now? How can you use the creative power of inner spring to come up with a new solution to what you need? Try breaking things down into more doable pieces and choose just one of those pieces to pursue. Meet yourself where you're at. Number 5, distraction and floundering. The qualities of play, experimentation, and curiosity, along with higher energy, can lead to distraction. If you're using your inner spring to move an idea, goal, or project forward, choose something to focus on by day 14 of your cycle. Basically towards the end of your inner spring, so those days where you're getting closer to ovulation, if you have a 28-day cycle, that's probably around day 14. By that point of ovulation, you want to have more of a narrow focus, because at ovulation, you're going to switch into inner summer. So where inner spring is about embracing and being in your potential energy, inner summer is going to be about that kinetic energy. So it's about bringing that idea through, like putting the action into it. So therefore, by the end of inner spring, you want to have a focus. Like you want to choose an idea out of all those ideas you have. So that's kind of a little task within inner spring. So by the end of inner spring, you want to choose a focus. And if you're feeling like you're floundering in the abyss of potential of what could be, embrace the levity of this season. Remove the seriousness that's taken hold of your mind. Find something that's compelling enough and give it a try. There is power in letting yourself make a choice. So now that we've discussed all of these challenges of inner spring, I think it's important to discuss some ways that you can best care for yourself in inner spring. First, be patient with yourself as you come out of menstruation. Let yourself stretch and wake up again. Think about the season transition of winter to spring. Like the snow slowly melts, the sun slowly warms up. You have to give yourself a chance to ease into it. Obviously, in terms of the menstrual cycle, our cycle is much shorter than the yearly seasons of nature. So this will just be like a day or two, but just let yourself ease into it a little more. At least hold that mindfulness that you're transitioning into this new season. And it's a season going from the dark season of winter to a season of light. Just keep that in mind for what it's worth to you. Allow yourself some fun. Do something for the fun of it. Do something silly and creative. Just do something that kind of activates that creative, childlike energy that you want to engage with in inner spring, so you can get that inspiration and fuel, and that will lead you to a focus. Okay, so do something for fun, or just like do something truly without the intention of needing it to lead to something else, like without the idea or the feeling that like you need to like do something to come up with a project that will change your life. Like just do something just for fun. It's sort of like how you probably have experienced, like you get sometimes your best ideas when you're like not actively thinking about getting an idea for that thing. It's kind of like that. And along the same line, try doing things differently. This is also great for if inner spring stirs up feelings of anxiety and intimidation and apprehension. It can be overwhelming to feel like you need to like expand and change things. And I think a really great way to remedy that fear is to just look at your life, your day-to-day things that you do, and just think of how you can do them a little bit differently. Sometimes that's like all you need to just stir things up a bit. So take a different walking path, try a new recipe, try a new exercise, or style your hair differently than you have before. Even just shaking things up a little can make a difference in how you feel and in how you see this season if you enter it with a feeling of intimidation and anxiety. Let your ideas and dreams flow without having to reason them out. And also keep track of those ideas that come in. Again, allowing yourself to be creative and imaginative, and allowing yourself to envision how things could make your life better. Allowing yourself to be in that creative sort of childlike state gives you the chance to get like a little taste of what you would really want in your life. And it also lets you see like the places that you really can make that change. So let yourself be creative, let your ideas and dreams come to you without instantly like rejecting them. And remember to narrow in on something by the end of inner spring. So that's right before ovulation. That's all I have for you today on inner spring. And to close off, the offerings and very real reality of a woman's inner seasons mean very little if we move through them without awareness. Inner spring could be as lame of an experience as going, oh, I don't have to put a pad or tampon in my bag today, if we don't bring the knowing of all the life growing and potential that's happening inside of us. You are allowed to give meaning to your female experience. You deserve to give meaning to your female experience. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Before you head off, I hope you will subscribe so that when a new video from me comes in, you'll be ready to learn a little bit more about you. Like this video to support growing the knowledge of the menstrual cycle, and leave me a comment down below because I would love to hear from you. And I need help in growing a true community here. So even if you don't tend to comment on people's videos, now is your moment. Also want to mention these books just because they've helped me so much in creating this content and I feel like they deserve some credit. And they've also just been so helpful in my experience of understanding the inner seasons and in other menstruality teachings and in just understanding my period and my menstrual cycle overall. So I just want to continue to show these as really great resources for anyone who happens to watch these videos. And from the growing light in me and to the growing light in you, thank you, and I will see you next time.